Hello, welcome. This is Pathways to Peace Symposium, and we're working on how to create peace inside of ourselves and in our lives. We've had some wonderful speakers and come up with some really fabulous ideas and thoughts and concepts and how to do it. It's just beautiful. I'm looking forward to summing this all up later. But we're going to get some more information from one of my favorite people is Dr. Renea Skelton. She's a life and communications coach, and she is going to talk to us about the power of peace beginning at home. So, Renea?
Okay, so welcome everyone, even those who are going to be listening to the recording, because I'm assuming there's going to be 500 of you.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, so peace. Oh gosh, first of all, happy birthday to you, Matt. That's
Thank
important.
you.
We got to get that out of the way. I'm sure everybody's been saying that to you. What are you, like 22?
33. Oh, no,
Oh,
Bob
close.
said
Close.
29. Looking good for 25
Looking
or something like
good.
that. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
are.
My grandma had her 39th birthday. I'm not quite there yet, but
Oh, she's one of those. Got it. Love it. So, yeah, I'm Dr. Renea Skelton. Call me Renee. I'm human just like everybody else. And I am a life and an emotional intelligence coach, a communication coach. I also am a parenting coach. Oh my gosh, if you have a heartbeat, I can coach you. It's amazing. I am certified in emotional intelligence. I served over 22 years in the Air Force and recently retired. Well, I say recently, it felt like it was yesterday because whatever happened to, we're already in April. It's about to be Christmas. This is crazy. But about 3 years ago, I retired and taught at the Air Force Academy before I retired. So I taught behavioral sciences, was a assistant professor out there. And so I was able to do a lot of the emotional intelligence out there. So I enjoy it. Emotional intelligence is my jam. I love it. Social, emotional, all that stuff. And we don't talk enough about it. And a lot of people are still unsure of what it is. They're ignorant to it. Ignorance is not stupidity. It's just lack of knowledge. That's what it is. So, yeah, so thank you for this opportunity. And what I'm talking about today is peace begins at home. Right? You would think. If peace begins everywhere, but at home. And I want to kind of, I do want to go into the aspect of the parenting role, the caregiver role, and what that looks like with children. Is that okay to go that direction?
oh, heck yeah. Are you kidding? That's one of the most important subjects there is, actually.
Right. So,
right,
opinion. I agree. So how many of you are parents? Okay. Got it. Our grandparents, caregivers, right? So our little ones, as you know, experience big emotions, and learning to name and manage them and those feelings, they can be very challenging for them and challenging for us because guess what? We're still trying to navigate our emotions as well, right? So this is very important. And creating a peaceful home in the midst of all the chaos, we used that word before the chaos can seem impossible. And I don't know about you, but I have 3 children and none of them came with a handbook. None of them. And there's all these self-helps out there and you hear all this stuff, but nothing really talks about navigating through the emotions with them, right? But I want to give you, through this chaos, there is possibility. All right, there is possibility. You can have a happy home where everyone can thrive and not just survive and take small steps each day. And those small steps can go from home to peace within yourself as a parent, as a caregiver, within the child, because that's important, right? And so they can in turn, when you release them into the wild, they can incorporate peace into society and into the world. So you see, that's where I was going with peace begins at home. All right, it's a snowball effect. So, and feel free to throw out any questions or whatever, or ask anything, but having a peaceful home is different for everyone. It looks different for everyone. For some, it means keeping a tidy home, keeping everything in order. That's peace to them. Totally get it. There's no right or wrong, right? For others, it can mean playing stress relieving music, at bedtime with candles. I mean, it's whatever it is. You can go from one extreme to the other. You have to determine what peace is to you, what it feels like, and what it looks like, just like what Bob talked about in his last presentation. Now, I say this is important because this affects your children. Your perspective of peace will affect your children because this is affecting you. We all have, I should say, unique stories and events that shaped our beliefs about ourselves. And we talked about this before in the world around us. And we based our communication and how we show up to the world based on our biases, our assumptions. We create a narrative and then we react based on that, right? But much of what shaped you now happened in your childhood and where you had little to no control over your life. And the things you came to believe about yourself and the others, they're not probably serving you today. Those are those little nasty gremlins we get in our head and the inner self-talk and things like that. And then we pass that down to our children. And then we don't even know we're doing it. And it's attached to our brain. It's encoded in our brain, neurotransmitters. It's neuroscience. And it also is attached to our identity, which is unfortunate. Okay. But peace, because that's why we're here, right? If you truly want peace in your home, because that's where it begins, you have to understand and know the peace you desire in the home. Now, some of you may be thinking, right? Okay, all my kids do is argue. We all argue. That's how we communicate. We just argue. I don't see peace happening in my home. It's not happening. Okay. This 30-minute presentation is not going to work. I get it. Parenting is difficult. But you have to ask yourself, am I doing the best I can given the resources I have? And if you can say yes, then you're doing good. Like your kids, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you got the bottom three and you're good, right? But here's how you can create peace. Okay, and this is trial and error, but this is how you can create it. I want to give you some actionable stuff. Acknowledge and when I say your child's, when I say parent, it could be caregiver, it could be grandparent, it could be anybody, whatever role you play in that child's life, okay? Acknowledge your child's perspective and empathize with them. That empathy piece of emotional intelligence. And when I'm saying this, for them, the child being understood helps them. It really helps them let go of troubling emotions that they have. You know, that arguing stuff. If your child is upset and seems like it's a chaotic situation, remember that we all store up emotions. We all do, because we're human. And then let ourselves experience that once we find a safe haven. So you have to give them that space. You have to acknowledge their perspective so you have the ability to empathize with them, right? Now, empathizing, a lot of my clients get this confused, my parents. It doesn't mean you have to agree. It's just that you see it from their side. That's it. You don't have to agree or disagree, just see it from their side. They're entitled to their own perspective. It's not your journey. I know you want to try to control this, parents, but it's not your journey. I know you're trying to protect them. And sometimes as parents, we forget that because we want to protect them so much, right? Another one, this is the common one. Allow expression. Allow them to express it. As you know, all the people in the room, well, I don't know if you know this, but a majority of people like the neuroscientists and things like that, everyone knows that the brain doesn't fully develop to the age of 25. Their amygdala takes over, the prefrontal cortex, their decision making, right? And that's why when you ask a child, why'd you do that? They're like, I don't know. Well, literally in that moment, they had no idea. So, but that's no excuse. They can find it difficult though. These children can find it difficult to differentiate between their emotions and themselves. They make it about them and their identity. And it's separate. So accept your child's emotions rather than denying or minimizing them. I hate to say this, and some parents are going to get upset with me. Stop telling your child to stop crying. Whining and crying are totally different. Stop crying, stop crying, stop crying. You're teaching them to suppress their emotions. Feel to heal. I always say that. Now, I'm not saying whining is totally different, right? But there's the crying part. So when you tell them to stop crying, it gives them the message that their feelings are shameful or unacceptable, right? So stop. And when they're angry, here's another one. When they're angry or they have fear, let them have those feelings, because if you try to force them away, they'll learn to repress them. And repressed feelings don't go away if you don't visit them. They're trapped and they're always looking for a way out, and they will be triggered, right? And then you're wondering why your child went from 0 to 60. I'm not saying to let them be angry all the time, but teach them. Teach them that's part of the human experience. You can say, like, out of anger, you could say as a parent, "You're so mad your brother broke your toy. I understand, and it's never okay to hit, even when you're very mad. Tell your brother in words how you feel." We don't do that as parents. You see that? I didn't even force an apology. Go tell your brother they're sorry, or you're sorry. Go tell your brother you're sorry. But we do that. We're not teaching them anything. Or if they're fearful, if your child is in this situation where they're so like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. This is what you can say. Here's one. You seem worried about the field trip today. You seem worried about the field trip today. I used to get nervous too on field trips. Want to tell me about it? You opened up a safe space for them. That's all you did. That's all you did. And that's important for a child, because they want that safe space. And that's what you're creating, that emotional intelligence in them. Now, when your child tells you their feelings, parents, I know we get distracted and we're on our phones. Try to be present with them, right? Because they will see this. They will see this. And you're setting the precedence that their time and what they have to say is not of value at that moment. So try to sit down. And if you can't sit down at that moment, sit with them and just say, "Hey, I am in the middle of this, X, Y, and Z. Can you give me 5 minutes and I will get to you?" So you set that boundary with them. And we talked about the expectations and things like that. Whether your child is 6 months or 16, they need you to listen to their feelings they're expressing. This can create peace because they're being heard. Once they feel and express them, they'll feel so much better and cooperative. You will be surprised, I promise you, when I tell you this. But to feel safe letting those feelings up and out, they need to know you are fully present and you are listening. Now, parents, you may be saying, "Well, what do I say?" Well, you could say, "You seem so unhappy right now. Everybody gets upset sometimes. I'm right here. Tell me about it." That's it. Now, and here, you ready for this one? This is a powerful one. Kids will say this, and adults, we say it as well. "I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I'm sad." Okay, reframe that and say, "I feel angry. I feel frustrated. I feel sad," whatever it is, because they are not their emotion. And you see how kids will wrap their emotion around their identity and they will react that way. We do it as adults all the time too, because we were trained, we are conditioned, and it's easy for us because our brain wants to make sense of it. But that's not who we are. That's what we are feeling. It's okay to feel angry. It's one of the basic emotions. It's okay to be angry. Acknowledge it. Now, how can you use it to your advantage? Get curious from it, right? I feel like I'm talking a lot. I know I am talking a lot. I'm just trying to get you. I'm trying to think of all the little tips and things that I see my parents struggle with. Problem solving. I don't know about you, but I don't remember going to school and there was a problem solving class. I don't remember that at all, right? But yet we're trying to have the kids, why'd you do that? Let's think second, third level order effects. Let's do critical reasoning. And they're just like, "What? My amygdala is in overdrive here," right? So emotions are messages. Emotions are messages. Teach your child to breathe through them, their emotions, feel them, navigate them without needing to act on them all the time, being so reactive versus proactive. Problem solve. You can say things like, You could say things like, you're so disappointed that your friend can't come over because she's sick. You see how I validated? They already know this. I don't need to be like, don't be disappointed. This at least, don't never at least people. We can talk about that later. But you're so disappointed that your friend can't come over because she's sick. You are really looking forward to playing with her. When you're ready, maybe we can brainstorm some ideas of something else that sounds like fun. Whoa, you just put the ball back in their court, and you as a parent weren't the sage on the stage. You're the guide on the side. And they can think on their own now. Coaching versus mentoring. It's magical. Now, I have read some research that, and I'm big into research, shows that simply empathizing with our kids is insufficient, I should say. It's not adequate to teach them to manage their feelings. It's not, because they still feel at mercy of their emotions. But we don't talk about that. Teaching kids to honor their feelings as signals about things they need to handle differently in their lives increases their EI and their problem solving. To honor them. Remember, I told you about anger. Acknowledge it. Okay, anger, you're there. I see you. I feel you. I get you, but I'm not you. To honor that. It's okay to feel angry. It's just what you do with it. So that's important. So how much time do I have, Matt?
Actually, you've got plenty. If you want, the next person didn't show up, so we've got half an hour.
People are like, no.
No. Okay. No.
So I want to say something about the at least. This is important.
That's a good one.
We at least people all the time. And I know we're coming from a good place. Like, Matt, your son's failing English. And I'm like, Matt, but at least your daughter's passing geometry. You know what I mean? Like, we paint the silver lining over something because we want to make them feel better, right? We want to, hey, look at the possibility. There's another opportunity. But here's the thing. Even though you're coming from a good place, you are taking away their safe space. You are taking away the other person's emotions in a way. You are not letting them resonate, like sit with it. You're taking that power from them. And what I mean by that is when we at least people, we make it about us. Because I feel uncomfortable. So I need to fix the situation, Matt. So I'm going to at least you. That way I feel good about myself because I'm like, oh, I don't know what to say in this moment. So I'm going to try to make it better for you. And I know that's not where you're coming from, Matt. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I know that's not the intent, but that's what the other person typically hears. So people ask, well, Dr. Renee, well, what do I say? Well, what do I say then? When they're telling me all this, what do I say? I'm like, that sucks. Or, that bites.
Yeah.
I'm here if you need me.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I am sorry you're going through this. That must be frustrating. I'm here if you need me.
I don't.
And if you're one of those fixers and solvers, like you really want to fix and solve people, I get it, because we all been there, done that, right? We're the sage on the stage. Ask permission. That's all you have to do is ask permission. I have a thought. May I share it with you? Not, here's what I'm thinking, because if you even say that to a child, they will shut down, because guess what? There's the parent, there's the authority, right? That's what they do. They shut down. May I share a thought with you? You just open the door for them. And if they say yes, okay. All right, then there you go. Well, here's a thought. How about this, XYZ? Oh, okay. You see how, yeah.
Can I? So that at leasting thing is what it is the way I see it is we have a thought behind our feeling usually, right? And that's what we're trying to change the thought behind the feeling in order to fix the feeling, which is sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. We are, as you also mentioned, we're trying to fix the problem rather than being there with the kid, which is a different problem. What we do, like I said, is ask What do you need? Would you like some suggestions? Would you like a hug? Would you like do you just need to vent? What do you need? That is really helpful too.
Yes. And that goes with, I mean, parenting, your relationships,
Yeah.
leadership. Ask, what
All
do you
that.
need from me? Because some
Yeah.
people just want to vent,
Yeah.
right?
A lot
Some
of
people
times.
just want to vent, and
A
I
lot of
totally get it.
times.
But they're also energy vampires at times, and they're sucking your life away. But you got to set that boundary. And you're like, you know what? Oh, wait up, Matt. Wait up. That's got to be frustrating, and that sounds very frustrating to you. What do you need from me? Do you want me to listen, or do you want me to provide some advice? You
Yeah.
see how I just throw that out there?
Mm.
Because a lot of us, we listen to react, to respond versus to understand.
Right.
We don't
And-
pump our brakes.
And what we do with it, what my wife and I have been teaching that class for 100 years. And what we do with it is we call it redirecting. And what that is working with the thought behind the feeling, and we also call it redirecting too early. So what happens is when the person's feeling stuff, and you're right about some people, energy vampires that go on and on and on, and you can adjust that. But what we've found is that they need to vent. They need to talk, and we talk about the difference between complaining and venting, just like whining and crying are very different. Complaining is not very helpful, and you feel worse afterward. Everybody does, but venting is kind of like magical. So if they're into the feeling and they're feeling what they're feeling, and you're going for the thought, sometimes it does. It instantly makes them feel better, but not very often, and it's usually not very helpful and that kind of thing. Sometimes it works, but what we've found is that we're trying to get them to feel the feeling until they're done with it. Okay, you're all right. I'm disappointed. My friend can't come over because they're sick, and I'm disappointed about that. And if you immediately do the well, at least, or any of that other garbage, usually doesn't work. So you go, yeah, wow, and then they say something else about it. They say something else about it, and then they got it out of their feeling, kind of out of them. Right. And you go, yeah, well, what else? Like you were saying, what else could we do? Would you like some suggestions? That kind of thing. And that's the redirecting. We let them get all to the bottom of the feeling, releasing that, just feeling. And then let's talk about the thought that's behind it and what goes with it. Because if we do it too early, they actually defend their problem and make it worse, and they go, no, you don't understand, it's so bad. And then you're trying to do something else, and then they go, no, all my friends do this, I never get to do that, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
And we've been there as parents where they're like, we always say, well, back in my day, we did that. Back in my, they don't want to hear that. They already knew your day's over. You know what I mean? Like, your day's over. But that's what they hear, and they shut down.
Yep.
I mean, my daughter was literally failing band. I'm like, who fails band? Just show up with an instrument. And this is during COVID. Like, just pretend you're playing. Like, really, you're on Zoom,
And you're fixing it. Careful.
Right.
Okay,
This is in my head, though, as parents. I mean, you can't. I mean, look, over 60,000 thoughts go through our head each day. Okay. And over half of those are judgment.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, coaching versus mentoring. I only mentor to my children if it's illegal, immoral, unethical, or if they're going to hurt themselves or others. I coach them. I'm not the sage on the stage. I've been there, done that. It's not my journey. Yeah, I want to protect them, but that's when I protect them. But we want to protect them with everything. And then we want to control everything. And we have these expectations. No, it's not your journey. So she was failing, right? And I said, I wanted to be like, just bring your instrument, pretend you're playing on Zoom. Like, really? You could probably pass it. It's band. How can you pass social studies, but you can't pass band? Like, come on, right? But I don't want to say that. So well, why do you think you're failing? This is her. Well, because I'm not bringing my instrument. I'm thinking to myself, well, bring your instrument and maybe you'll pass. But I'm not going to say that, because I'm giving her the answer, and she's never going to learn, or it's going to take her a long time to learn, right? It's a transformation. So I pump my brakes and I say, oh gosh, that's got to be frustrating. What does it feel like when you know that when you know this, and when you're not getting a passing grade, what does that feel like? Because you want to associate that feeling. It's a Chronos moment. It's just like when you turn on the radio in your car and you're like, oh, I remember when I was done, because it's an emotion attached to it. That's what you're trying to do with your children, with anybody really, even your spouses. So you do this. Well, what do you think you could do to pass? They can have the most outlandish response, and you're like, that is not going to work, girl. Have fun with that, boo. Right? Let them try it on. They're going to come back and they're going to be like, wow, that didn't work. I'm like, okay, that didn't work. How'd that feel?
What's another choice?
Yeah. What is something else you could do? Well, I guess I could bring my instrument and play. Don't make sure you don't have Tourette's of the face going, that's a lot. You know what I mean? But you would say something like, try that on. Let's see how that works.
Other than duh, right?
And then they come back and then they're ecstatic because it was them. You just coached them along. That's it. You guided them. And now that it's settled with them, and now how do you feel? We forget that as parents. How does that make you feel that, because we say, you're so smart. Don't tell a child they're so smart all the time. You're creating an overachiever and a perfectionist. You are smart because X, Y, Z. Be specific.
Cool.
Yes.
Melissa has a question, please. Excuse us.
Sorry.
Okay.
For some reason, Renee, with you speaking, and I don't even know if it's my expectation of today, of the gathering of today, but for some reason you speaking, everything that you're saying, I know that you said that it was like that guardian role, that mentor role, the parent role, so forth. I can't help but continuously think, oh my God, this is how I need to be talking to the former me, the me that I've been struggling with. And this is why I can't find peace within me. And I keep hearing this, like everything that you're saying, I'm like, oh God, I need to do this. And so it's definitely given me a huge different perspective. And actually, at this moment, I'm feeling a little bit of peace because I'm able to brainstorm some of this now, just hearing you speak. So thank you.
Oh, Melissa, that warms my heart. It's your inner child you're talking to. Would you say the stuff that you say to yourself, your gremlins that you water or whatever? I could, I should. Stop shoulding on yourself. I said should, SHOULD. Stop shoulding. Could yourself. I could do this. What's done is done. You're talking to your 5-year-old daughter. Would you say the same things you say to yourself to your 5-year-old daughter? Probably not, but we say it to ourselves. And you probably experience, I'm not going to go on a coaching session, but you probably experienced so much trauma in your past and it's conditioned who you are. But guess what? Now you know. Now you know, and you don't have to should on yourself. You could on yourself because there's opportunities right there, right? And you're not broken. Nobody's here to fix anybody. We're not broken at all, right? We're human. We're here to love and learn.
Well, I like that. Would instead of should, change it to could. That's great.
I was like, stop shoulding on yourself. And they're like, what? What did she just say? I'm like, I said should. Okay. Should.
Yeah, actually, Doc, who was just on, said it's the 13th commandment, thou shalt not should on thyself.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. I missed that one. No, but no, that's so important. And that helps create peace, because if we don't have peace within ourselves, how are we going to model that for our children? Like peace is paramount. There we go. Peace is paramount. And how much more time do I have?
About 10, 15.
Okay. I want to capitalize. I talked about the at least and you said, Matt, you were talking about complaining. And that's where we hear all arguments, right? Complain. But I want to, okay. So when you hear somebody come in going, like your child, we'll go back to the children. When you hear in your household, I'm so hungry. I'm so bored. I'm so bored. Why is the Wi-Fi not working? And why do I have to go outside and scoop the dog poo out of the yard? Like, why? What do you hear? What do you hear?
Powerlessness, rebellion.
Rebellion. Oh, I
Poor
like that
me.
one.
Poor me.
Yeah. Very serving,
fair.
maybe. Complaining.
Complaining. Yeah.
Whining, right? It's just,
Whining.
and as parents, we're like, oh my gosh, just do what I said. Just take out the trash. Just do this, do that.
Mm-hmm.
But here we go. If you as a parent, like purposely reframe it, instead of hearing it as a complaint, behind every complaint is a request.
Oh, nice. Ooh.
If you come but we come at the child as stop your complaining, just do it, do as I told you. There is a desire of theirs that's not being met.
Nice.
I'm so hungry. I'll make it as simple as that. I'm so hungry. Well, then go feed yourself. Obviously you're hungry. You know what I mean? What could you do to satiate your need of being hungry? Eat a cracker? You know what I mean? Like, but you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
And then we react to them like they're complaining, but there's something deeper there. There's something that there is a need not being met. And when we suppress that need, we're in turn suppressing their emotions. And then they react, and then they're rebellious, and then they're defiant, and they're not taking out the trash, and you have a migraine. And that is not creating peace. That's creating chaos in the household. But we blame it on the child, and it's us. So parents, it is important that you do this, because the first step you can take towards raising emotionally intelligent children is to understand your own style of dealing with emotion and how it affects your kids, because they watch us and they model us, and many of them are us. They are mini-me's. So to do that, one of the steps you can do is to, like I said before, accept their emotions, but accept your emotions. Be an emotion coach to them. You can be an emotion coach to them. Research, and like I told you, I'm big into research. Research determine 2 predictors for how children will turn out. You ready for this? Emotional regulation and social relationships. That is important. 2 predictors, and I'll repeat that, how children will turn out. Research says it's emotional regulation and social relationships. It isn't discipline that teaches these, like we think, right? Accountability for our children and stuff like that. Totally get it. It's important to have that. But it's emotional regulation and social relationships. It's these magic moments. And Dr. Gottman, he alludes to this, these magic moments. And they're connecting with our children when they are emotional. That's it. It's connecting with them. It's through this connection that we as parents, as caregivers, can influence how they feel about themselves and about the world around them. That's peace, and that's powerful right there. And parents, it's important to set the tone and be honest. Apologize, because you are going to fail. Just fail better next time. You're going to fail. I always say, if you're going to fall on your back so you can look up and get up. Okay? Don't fall on your face. They know, your kids know you're the parent. And so if you remain calm and attentive to them, it allows the situation, the chaos around you, it allows the child to de-escalate themselves. You don't want to meet them at their emotion, because they will match our emotion, right? They are ready and they'll imitate us. And we're not calm all the time as parents. I get it. So when you're not calm and you mess up and you yell at them, admit it, be honest, and admit it to them. You don't want to overload your children with your own issues, right? Because you are stressed in the moment. When you make a mistake or anything, just say, I'm sorry. I did not mean to yell at you. I'm really tired, but it's not okay. It's not okay. you're teaching them that emotional regulations, right? And I want to say one more thing. Okay, no, Matt. I'm like all these things that the parents have issues with. I'm like, that's in my brain. But as parents, I see this a lot of frustration because we get frustrated. We'll say, hurry up. What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? Get ready on time. What's going on? Oh my goodness. This guide, don't criticize, guide them. And this is judgment. You are judging them. This is shame. It puts shame on them, and it doesn't allow for peace at all. You can say, for little kids, you can say, hey, let's do cheetah time. What's a cheetah do? Oh, they're fast. And you're timing them if you want them to speed up. You see, there's different techniques you can do instead of saying, why are you so slow? What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. What's
My
wrong
pet
with
peeves.
you? Oh gosh. Can you imagine? Imagine somebody saying that to you, but we're saying this to our children. And sometimes we are the harshest on those that are closest to us because we know their triggers and they're forgiving. It's unfortunate, but they're forgiving.
Nope.
Because if you expect people to go at your pace, parents, you're going to be disappointed. You are going to be disappointed, right?
Yeah,
So-
but the problem with that is they're very forgiving, and later on you hear them saying that to other people, and they're like, whoa.
Yes. Yes. And you're like, why did you do that? And they're like,
Where'd you hear those words
Right?
before?
Right? That is so true.
Yeah.
But I do want to end with this.
Okay.
Children thrive on loving attention. You can be the most introverted, even you adults. Everybody wants to be acknowledged, felt, seen, and heard, right? Even if you're an introverted hermit that lives underneath the bridge on the freeway and hates people, you're a curmudgeon Carl. Hopefully there's no Carls listening, because I mean, not every Carl's going to be a curmudgeon. But be fun together, surrender in the moment, hug each other, smile, spend as much time as you can sharing favorite activities like reading and playing, building, cooking, snuggling, whatever it is, being silly. Love your children for who they are. Meet them where they're at, not where you want them to be. Acknowledge them. Help them emotionally regulate. Don't criticize, guide, like I said, what they do or do not do, right? Well, who are you? Who are you? I get it. You're the parent and you want to protect, but guide them. Let them think on their own. And you're going to find the sweet, lasting joys of parenting peace right there. I promise you that.
Wow. Lots of good stuff. You can see in the chat, I'm taking notes like crazy.
Oh.
Right. I wrote down probably 3 or 4 times what I put into the chat too. So just great stuff, Renee. Thank you. This is really super. You can tell you've been working with parents quite a bit, because parents, I do believe, and I'm sure you do, it sounds like, that most parents want to be good parents. They love their kids and they want to be good parents. Some parents are so bad at it, man, they're so bad. So it's ignorance, not apathy, right? It's that they don't know. It's not that they don't care.
Yeah.
Melissa's shaking her head, right? It's not. A lot of parents just have no idea, and they parent the way they were parented, right?
How's that working for you?
They're so clueless about it. Like, come on.
Agreed.
So beautiful. Well done. Thank you. With no PowerPoint, you're just like, go and go.
I had that one slide that, well, no, that wasn't even a PowerPoint. That was a slide you made us do.
Well, oh yeah. Actually, yeah, I pulled that up somewhere. I was taking all those notes, so I'm not sure where it is now, but I had it up. I was going to show it was the end of your email that you put up, that bottom of your email, your SIG line, whatever. SIG.
Oh yeah. Do you have it? I don't have it. I mean,
I'm trying to find it. I do have it, very definitely. Now, if I can get to it, that would be great.
So I wrote on the slide, I wrote, while he's looking for it, I wrote, during COVID, I was having a lot of children who were coming to me contemplating suicide. And it frustrated me. It made me so sad. And everybody was blaming COVID. Well, come to realize the kids were not telling me it's COVID. COVID was a byproduct, but it was about the kids were feeling the stress in the household and the lack of peace, and they felt like they were a burden. So they wanted to check out. And so I decided to write a children's book series on emotional intelligence, because I don't see a lot of resources on emotional intelligence in children. So I have 5 books out, and one focuses on emotion, each one: anger, anxiety, sadness, grief. Each one has an emotion. And throughout the book, I didn't want to be like, oh, here we go. What's the moral of the story? The question has facts throughout the book of the certain animals that go. This Henry the Hedgehog goes on certain adventures, and his friends have these big emotions. So he helps navigate through them, right, with them. So what I do is, even Matt's read them, but I have intentional questions for the child to develop empathy with the characters. And I've had parents, caregivers, counselors, teachers reach out to me and go, my child or my student just opened up to something that he's kept hidden for all this time because of the questions in your book. And I did not know my son was beating his head in the closet when he became angry. Things like that. So they have these conversations, these intentional conversations with their children. And then on top of that, they, at the very end of the book, I have a letter to the adult, to the caregiver, whatever, to help you navigate through that emotion with the child and also increase your emotional intelligence as well. So it's a very focused and intentional series. And this next one is over, it's in the works. It'll be released probably in the next 2 months. And it's over perfectionism, the fear of failure.
Nice.
So
Henry's one of my heroes.
oh, Henry.
Good guy. Right on. Right on. Beautiful. Great. All right. Okay. This is great stuff. I feel like one of our objectives, or one of our focuses of our nonprofit, is the people with ripple effect, right? And parents are one of my favorite one of my favorite target areas. We do a lot of teachers and we do bosses and that kind of thing. But to me, parenting is the way to go. I mean, that is such direct effect, permanent effect, huge effect on people and kids. And we've got grandkids. Actually, I have 2 great grandkids.
I can wait on that.
Yeah. Well, and not bad at 25, right?
Right.
Anyway, so great stuff. Thank you, Renee. It was wonderful. I'll send you the recording later, and I'm looking forward to sharing this with other parents and that sort of thing. So thank you.
And happy birthday, Matt.
Yes. Thank you.